Hey, welcome to the Psychic Soul Healer channel. If you're new to the channel, welcome. And if you are returning, welcome back. Now, if you're new to the channel, know that anything of any relevance, important links, how to connect with me on any of my social medias, website link, etc., you can find in the description box below. Also, my other links to my YouTube channels will be there as well. Also, whatever giveaway I am giving for the time that I'm doing the video, every time I do a video, I give away a free psychic reading to people that like, subscribe, and then write the word in their comment bar. Now, depending on the word, I try to switch it up a bit. I've been using the word healer and master healer, but today I've been drawn to, for anyone that lands on this video and they want to win a reading, then all they have to do is, again, write the word shame in their comment bar. You might say, why shame? Well, for those of you that are new to the channel, this is the Psychic Soul Healer channel, so I always look at wounds. And a lot of times when we don't understand why our person is acting a certain way towards us, it's because they have shame. They have a wound of shame. And intuitively, I'm being called to that's going to be the theme of the reading somehow today. I don't know how it's going to play out, obviously, because cards are not in front of me, but a lot of times spirit will speak to me before I do a card reading. So understand, like goes to like. You're a mirror of who and what comes into your life. So you may have shame. You may have deep seated wounds from childhood that are so suppressed that they are now repressed, and you don't even know that that energy is there. But you're a energy being that works like a magnet that draws to you energy that has the same energy that you do. You draw people and things to you that you also need. So a lot of times, if you have shame, you'll live in an experience, or an experience, I should say, plays out that's karmic, that will teach you shame where you feel shame in order to look at, in order for you to integrate the spiritual wound. Because when we integrate spiritual wounds, they turn to spiritual gifts. So I am going to look at the storyline, meaning what's going on with your person, but I want to look at the karmic themes. I want to look at what needs to be healed. And I want you to be able to take away information that is going to help you, not just for you to enjoy a story. You'll enjoy the story too, but there's a deeper meaning. And the deeper meaning to all readings is that every scenario, every situation is spiritual, which means that there are many different perspectives and there's many different reasons why situations play out the way that they do. And a lot of times we don't understand those situations because we're looking at the experience through our own distorted and jaded perception due to our wounds. So in order to heal your wounds, you have to, again, be able to be aware of them. Number one, a lot of times we can become aware of them through the storyline, like what plays out, what consists of a wound that is all about shame. What is a wound that's about victimization and betrayal? Again, these lower energies, these lower emotions. So we can see that. And then we can also see the behaviorisms that are attached to it. But most importantly, we want to be able to look and see how we can integrate the spiritual wound, turn the wound into a gift. Because when you integrate soul wounds, they expand consciousness, which allows you to be able to see a different outcome, be able to see yourself differently. A lot of times we look at ourselves through, again, distorted perceptions that make us sabotage ourselves, our experience, the things that we're trying to create for ourselves because of this energy. I always start off my reading using the Psychic Soul Healer deck. This is going to be a general reading. I don't know if I said, I probably didn't. So I'm going to say now for Aquarius. But no, if you landed on this and you listen this long, this message resonates for you too. Again, I always believe that if you landed on a video, you were meant to hear it, that it resonates with you somehow. You may not resonate with the storyline, but you may resonate with the healing. You'll resonate to part of it. And maybe not now. Maybe you're in an experience that is unfolding right now. Usually intuition works before something happens. Spirit always warns us through signs and symbols before something happens. We just tend not to listen to our intuition. We tend to be focused on what we want or the expectation or, again, the desire. We're looking at our situation, especially when it's a soulmate twin flame, right? We're looking at that person through a perception that is desirable to us, and usually something that we feel is going to fulfill us. Hopefully not complete us. We know that if we're feeling that someone's going to complete us, that we're codependent. Now, this card is just flipped over, so I'm just going to put it over to the side because I believe that there are no mistakes. And everything happens for a reason. Look, I'm going to do this again because that was flipped over too with timelessness. So empathy and timelessness. So this is talking about a soulmate twin flame. That's how the energy is opening, because timelessness is, again, a past life connection. Soulmate twin flame, there is a timeless connection, and we know this because love, there is no time or space with unconditional love. This is how mediumship is done. We can tap into, again, someone that is crossed over through the energy of love, emotion. That energy never dies. It's what connects us to each other: empathy, sensitivity, soulmate, twin flame. Empaths tend to also, and this is what is just coming to mind, empaths tend to, we have hard upbringings. We have hard upbringings because we don't understand our sensitivity. We feel people don't understand us. We feel very different from other people. So when you meet a person that's a soulmate twin flame that actually feels like home when you have always felt awkward, you know this energy, it's a very strong spiritual bond, and it's, again, timeless. So we know that there's going to be lessons here because there's never a soulmate twin flame relationship that's easy, because these connections are all about making us transmute our deepest wounds, and we can transmute them through the fire of passion. But it's also understand they're difficult relationships because they trigger us. They make us look at all our shadows, all the parts of ourselves that we've detached from. So this is when you're actually holding a vibrational dissonance towards someone where you have this unconditional love for them, but on the other hand, you can't stand them. They trigger you. They make you so angry. you just can't walk away. You try to walk away, but what you realize is that unconditional love cannot be broken. Again, it's timeless. Okay, look, Joker card. And when I pull this out, saying I forgot to take it out, which has been like every week, by the way, lately. Excuse me. I don't know why. I guess I'm not as grounded as I should be. Um, that this I consider that like a joker card, and like a nothing card. Like it can be anything. So whatever pops into my mind. And what pops into my mind is when you feel awkward, when you're a kid and you feel awkward, a lot of times it's because you don't feel safe in your environment. So I feel both parties have the same wounds. I feel like they don't experience them and internalize them the same way. But however, when we're a child and we are living in survival, and survival could be just perceived that we don't feel safe, we can't be ourselves. Sometimes that's because emotionally we feel we're not safe to open up and share. That happens for a lot of different reasons. I feel like for some, it was parents were too busy dealing with their own relationships that were not working. They were codependent. They were difficult relationships. So the whole point of what I'm getting to is if we're not like childlike, finding ourselves playing and exploring, which is what you're supposed to do when you're a child, because that's how you figure out what you like and what you don't like. You get a sense of who you are. But if you're in survival mode for whatever reason, and it doesn't necessarily all the time mean that you grew up in abuse. I feel like your person did not grow up in abuse. Yes, they had a father that they was not nice to them, but they weren't beaten all the time. They were actually very spoiled by their mother. Now, I feel like for you, Aquarius, you did not feel safe in your environment, but also your sensitivity in both parties, actually, their sensitivity made them feel not comfortable because sensitivity is a spiritual trait that a lot of times we need to learn how to master before we can actually see the gifts. And a lot of times in childhood, it makes us feel different. We haven't grown into the trait yet. We get overstimulated. Things bother us. We're seen as shy. People tend to label us with labels. And then we began to walk from that level of consciousness. And that's what I feel like for these two individuals in this story, that they lived they lived in two different locations. They didn't know each other, but they lived very similar. They have the same wounds. They don't channel them out the same way. They're soulmate twin flames. They're a divine union brought together by spirit to pull out the wounds, to make each party look at the wounds. So Aquarius, whoever you are connected to, and that's triggering you, that person that you can't walk away from, I just want you to know they can't walk away from you either. Now, does that mean that they're showing you? No, I feel like they're not. And if you find that you have a very hard time showing your emotions and feeling safe, again, in expressing who you are, and this is a big part of one of the wounds that these two people are mirroring. And the wound is both parties never felt comfortable with themselves due to their sensitivity, as well as they both didn't grow up in environments that made them feel supported in opening up and sharing emotionally their feelings about things, their thoughts, their feelings. They were taught to think a certain way and be a certain way, and one of you, which I feel like it was you, Aquarius, was taught not to express yourself at all. Now, it doesn't matter what the actual storyline is. What matters is the wound. In this story, obviously, when we're doing card reading, we want to know the storyline. But I always look at this spiritual element first before I look at the storyline, because that's going to allow us to look at the situation from a more detached perception, which, in order to integrate a spiritual wound and not get stuck in the story, is best to look at the spiritual element. And the spiritual element here is, again, two people that love each other, then have a timeless spiritual connection that's felt through empathy and sensitivity, because they're both highly sensitive individuals. However, they don't process information the same way, but they have the same wounds. And those wounds play out pretty much with the same karmic themes. So right now we're seeing this that's the energy here. And then this empty card was what I was saying. Both parties were not able to find their unique individuality because they weren't able to be children. They didn't feel safe. I felt one came from a very imbalanced environment where there was only one parent that worked all the time and was never happy. And I felt like your person grew up in an environment where they had a disconnect from one of their parents. I felt the father, and because they didn't feel comfortable in that relationship, and the father wasn't nice, or that parent that was dominant, that had a lot of male energy. Don't read for gender, but understand, like, in order to keep to the storyline, again, I'm going to say the father didn't make your person feel safe. So the mother overcompensated by spoiling, by overgiving, by overdoing, by never reprimanding, because the father wasn't nice, was imbalanced, was full of anger and rage, and made your person feel inadequate. And so again, it doesn't matter what happened. What matters is that the second chakra was affected, and the second chakra is all about one's unique individuality. How a person feels about themselves. So again, I don't know how shame plays out in it, but our magic word of the day is shame. And this is the underlying spiritual energy that's at hand. Dealing with a soulmate twin flame that, again, lived the same life that you did, if I was to say, like through the wounds, through the spiritual lessons, through the spiritual karmic themes and lessons. You both have the same. And then you just so happen to be soulmate twin flames that are triggering each other. Okay, let's see what's happening. Oh, one flew out, and we're seeing. Are you going to listen to me? I feel like your person, like, automatically when I tap in, I'm getting aggravated. And I'm getting aggravated because I feel like your person sabotages this connection all the time. So you have a soulmate, you have a twin flame connection, but your person has a lot of ways that they sabotage themselves. It's like there's a thing called psychological reversals, where your person does the exact opposite of what they're trying, the exact opposite thing that they should do in order to get what they want. They get in their own way. They sabotage themselves. So you feel that they don't listen. But a psychological reversal happens because your person has a lot of trauma. They feel inadequate about themselves. They don't feel good about themselves. So when they are around you, they like you so much that they get overstimulated due to their sensitivity. So it's like they listen, but they don't listen. It's like they don't remember anything. It's like they have the conversation and it seems like it goes in one ear and out the other. So I feel like you're getting triggered because you grew up in an environment where you had a family that didn't listen. Felt like whatever you said wasn't important. Like you would try to set a boundary, you would try to avoid certain things, you would try to make things run smoothly, but people wouldn't listen. Look to your power animal. So, Aquarius, whatever your power animal is, and that's going to be different for everyone. And you can actually Google whatever, that comes out. It will be some sort of spiritual medicine that can help you deal with this situation and actually heal your own wound, because really it wouldn't matter what your person was doing if you were cleared. Like when you're clear and you don't hold any trauma, you're just love, unconditional love, right? Because there's only two energies, love and fear. Like jealousy, rage, victimization, shame, all these lower energies stem from fear. And love is, again, unconditional love, the highest vibration of all. So when you are at the highest vibration, you don't get triggered. It doesn't matter what the person is doing, isn't doing, should have been doing. We don't take anything personally. We don't care. We're not looking for that person to fill us up, because we are full, because we know who we are. We have invested in ourselves and we filled up our own cup. So again, your power animal is going to tell you what you need to do in order to heal your identity and to heal this wound, to heal by telling you what the power animal's medicine is, what is their trait. So your power animal could be an ant. You feel like power animal is an ant, but an ant is very grounded. They're hard workers. They realize that they're going to carry a breadcrumb. It might take all day to get it to where they need to be, but they're going to utilize everything that they have, including each other. You always see like a bunch of ants carrying one breadcrumb and they're all bringing it to their home. They have teamwork. So sometimes that's your medicine. Your medicine is to realize that you too are not alone. Again, a lot of times when we're in a spiritual karmic connection, which soulmate connection is karmic relationship. Every relationship you get into is karmic, because every situation and every relationship is karmic. It's because it's going to teach you. And it's going to teach you through you getting hurt sometimes, and sometimes hurting someone else, but always learning. And always learning through what it is that you're doing. Sometimes we're not conscious. Sometimes we're focused on, again, what we desire within the relationship, what we want it to be, what the potential is, but not really what it is. And that's how we can get hurt. Then that's karmic. It's karmic because you didn't look. So again, there's many different situations, but in this, like for everyone, but understanding what your specific trauma is in this connection is going, and knowing what your power animal is going to be the starting place, because that's like the higher self. leading you. That's like spirit leading you, again, through signs and symbols. You heard it through this video, and now you get compelled to go look. And that brings you on your spiritual journey of self-discovery, which is healing alone in what you're needing to heal within yourself in order to heal this relationship. Okay. I have karmic debts that need to be paid before I can come back to you. I believe that your person was involved with someone else and they wanted to leave. They could have left, but the person that's attached to them is a karmic mate. And that karmic mate does not want them to move forward. And they're doing everything to make it really difficult for your person, kind of to wear them down. They know that your person doesn't have feelings for them. They know this. But your person, for the longest time, did the easy thing. Did the easy thing to the point that now they really don't have an identity. They're living somebody else's what somebody else wants them to be and do, and all for them. Now, karmic mates are not always, they're not always the most horrible story, but in this particular story, I feel like this karmic mate is so angry because your person does not love them that they don't care. They've manipulated the situation for a really long time, and your person is a highly sensitive person that's an empath, that's not healed, that and never really felt comfortable or good about themselves, never developed a sense of self, and now someone else is manipulating them. So they want to come back to you. They're finally getting a sense of self. I don't think that they realized that they were living out of balance to your person because they made money. They, had what they perceived was the finer things in life because they had a big job, made a lot of money. Again, everything looked good on paper, but they weren't fulfilled because they were not living their life. Feel like your person works for a family business or is connected somehow to a family business. And so in this, they again think and live and do by not just what they think and what they want, but again, collectively, and over time, it's become very unhealthy because it's almost like they don't have an identity. Everyone else is using their energy. Eternal bachelor or bachelorette, so they come across like they don't care. See, your person doesn't know how to get out of that situation. So they would just rather come across as a player than someone that doesn't have their own life, like someone else that doesn't have their shit together. And your person has a very successful business. I believe that they've been supporting family, that they've been supporting other people, and everyone else has manipulated them into doing what was best for them, and your person completely neglected themselves. And for a long time, they got a lot of self-satisfaction for doing it because they were seen and that they were loved and that they were praised. And remember, your person did not have an identity growing up. They didn't have a strong sense of self, but that is not a true sense of self where you are a martyr, where you give all your energy to someone else or to other people, and in return, you get love. First of all, love should be unconditional. In order for it to be constant and feel good, it should be unconditional. That you don't need to do anything for that love. your person got conditioned over time that their emotional survival was connected to doing. And so, again, they weren't getting any love because they weren't living from their passion. They were living from what other people wanted and need and what it looks like from the outside and their ego. Because they have this business, they have this money, they drive a nice car, but it was empty. It was empty because it's almost like your person is like that, in the Wizard of Oz, there's a man behind the curtain, and the guy's behind the curtain saying, "Don't look behind the green curtain." Your person is that person behind the green curtain, pretending that they're this big Oz. But really they're just a small man behind a curtain, on an amplifier sounding like they're big. But notice how no one ever got close to Oz. They got the closest, Dorothy and her squad, I'll say, they got closest, and that's how they saw, because the dog got really close, but most people were not able to get up to the curtain that close. And what is your person never allowed you to get close. And so again, they were coming across like they were this forever bachelorette. We understand why. Would you still want me after all this? See, now your person either thinks that you think that they were cheating on them, or you figured out, but you have figured out and have seen at least a different version of what you perceived that they were, Aquarius. So again, they portrayed themselves as someone that had it all. They had a big ego because they have this big business and they have this money, but again, they were hiding a lot. So they kind of have figured out that you have figured out a lot about them, even though they haven't shared anything. Possibly because they ghosted, possibly because they acted like that bachelor and bachelorette, which made you look deeper and find out through other people, through the grapevine. I feel like some of you guys did that, Aquarius, and I feel like for others of you guys, guys and girls, I should say, you guys and girls found out through just investigating, just knowing, just being intuitive. I feel like intuitively you knew. So that they know and they're embarrassed about it. They have a shame. Again, there's the shame. There's the shame. So in childhood, your person lived a theme of shame, and they have not cleared that wound. And they felt shame with that parent, not the parent that spoiled them, the other parent. They were told that they were bad. They were made to feel not good about themselves. They were made not to be able to feel and process their emotions. They were made to feel as if there was something wrong with them because of their emotions. And so your person wore a mask and had a facade and created this environment that looked good. And that was all great and well until their heart got involved. They didn't want to have feelings for you, Aquarius. But this relationship is spiritual. It's a past life connection, which it told us that, again, it's timeless. Timelessness. You can't get away from this. The energy, the connection, right? Empathy, the sensitivity, that energetic cord that's felt as love transcends time, space. So your person couldn't deny it. They want to deny it. It would be easier for them to stay like asleep to the way that they were living. They don't want to do this. They are fighting this, is what I really feel. This was flipped over. I was being selfish. Yeah. Which is exactly what I felt. I felt that your person was being completely selfish because they were fearful. They were like, if I have to give up all this, what are people going to think of me? I'm going to look like a loser. Again, that energy of believing that there's something wrong with them, that they need money and things to be successful. Now, don't get me wrong, we need money to survive, but your person made that like the focal point, and they weren't living an authentic life. That is not what spirit wants us to do. That is living completely out of alignment with the universe. Because when you're living in alignment with the universe, you're your true self. And nobody's true self wants to go along with a crowd all the time. No one wants to do that. So let's look at some of the hidden truths, how they feel about you and what they're going to do about it. Because here they're realizing at least that they're selfish. So I'm kind of feeling like your person feels really uncomfortable about their situation and having this be exposed about them. And so they weren't around, but there's this energy that, can't be broken. So your person cannot walk away. They wanted to walk away. The hidden truths are, we will be together again. It's what they feel like in their heart. And it's because they still can feel you, Aquarius, because that energetic bond is not broken. It can be felt. It can be felt. And it's so strong. And it's so strong because it is a divine connection where spirit saying it's time. It's time for both of you to heal your wounds. But those wounds are scary. They're from childhood. They're deep. They're unconscious, a lot of them. You would not volunteer to do this healing. So again, I have to counteract that fear with love and passion. So I'm bringing you into your, bringing you connected to connect with your soulmate, twin flame. It's late. It's past 2 o'clock in the morning. That's why. Okay, and I wish things could be different. I feel like they're still, they're coming back, and they know in their mind, they say one day, one day, one day. But the problem is that they don't know, because they don't know how long this karmic debt is going to be dragged out. And I feel like your person is going through a divorce, right? Ending this relationship that's, again, entwined in their work. There's no love there. So this could be a past lover or a past, somehow family that's no longer really family, that your person just is still doing so much and has done for so much that it became a habit that they didn't really know how to get out of it. And really, you're the catalyst, because they would be fine. They would say, no, this is okay because I'm still getting fed emotionally. Look at what all these people appreciate me, because I'm doing everything for them. I'm keeping everything going and moving. But these people aren't really loving and appreciative. They're using. And that's what your person is realizing too. I lost myself for a little while. Yeah, I think it was so shocking that they saw this about their family and they saw this about their life, that it was a real tower moment in their life. And so they were hurt. They're sensitive. So even though they don't show their sensitivity a lot to the outside, they internalized the situation a lot. And for some, I'm feeling like some of them drank and suppressed their feelings and emotions. And that's how they lost themselves. They just completely detached, checked out, because they couldn't deal with the pain of betrayal, and then feeling like foolish because they got duped. They were being used. These relationships aren't really real. And meanwhile, they chose to stay there instead of feed this connection. They didn't want this connection with you, Aquarius. That's why they feel bad, because they were trying to keep that facade, thinking that it would be too hard to leave that situation. But understand, they thought that it would be too hard for them to leave that situation, because it's not, wouldn't just be leaving the situation, it would be a whole like change of identity, like an uproot within like their entire existence. Like they would have one time gone off to work and in their own business and drove a nice car to get there and lived in a cozy house to get there. Well, maybe now they're going to live in you know, a 1-bedroom apartment. Still drive the nice car because they have the nice car, but they no longer own that business. Now they're working for someone. So it's a lot different. It's an ego humble. It's a come to Jesus moment. It's a get down on your knees. It's very humbling, and that's because your person has not dealt with their wounds. So they've run from their wounds for so long, but the wound of shame has continued to play out within your person's life over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, because they never heal it. So it plays out in different instances. And here we see it's very easy to see why, because they didn't have an identity. And once you don't have an identity and someone is using you and you're getting your emotional fulfillment from doing, well, you're then an unhealed healer. And what is happening is then you identify with love as needing to give or do, and not really know what unconditional love is. And then, you know, you feel as if you need to have things and give things, and the possessions become more important than the actual connection. And this is what happened with your person. And though those people would be nice to him, they were kind of just fluffing his or her ego, being like being like, yeah, you're great, you're wonderful, you're fabulous. Yeah, keep working though, and keep giving us our money. And it doesn't matter that you don't have a life and that you're not happy. And I think that your person is seeing that, and they didn't see that perception ever before. So they've lost themselves because of that. Finding out the truth crushed me. Yeah, it sure did. So, I mean, their hidden truths about you is pretty much, I'm coming back to you. I don't know when. And I don't know when, because I am dealing with this shit and this karmic stuff, due to the fact that, you know, I don't want to be in whatever this connection is, whatever's holding me to this family, this connection. I don't know whether it's a family within work, that there's no love there and that there's a business entwined, or whether it's just a business, but that it's, again, it's karmic. We can have karmic, you know, relationships. And in this situation, your person didn't have an identity. They'd never created themselves. And so that happens when we lose ourselves in relationships, when we have addictions, when we are looking for things outside of ourselves and creating our identity through things instead of internally. And your person grew up not liking who they were because of their sensitivity and because of their connection to one of their parents. The more male dominant one doesn't necessarily mean the father, but in this storyline, I say that it's the father. And because of that detachment, they were trying to really not have to experience love, or they thought that lust was love. So your person is really going through a dark night of the soul right now because of this awakening. Their whole dynamic of their life is changing. So I just wanted to put that out there to you. So this isn't about that they don't care. They do. They feel the connection. But in order to have a better future with you, they would have to clean this up. And I think that they know that. I'm going to leave like one last card. That was again soulmate twin flame message. I want to see what they have to say. Well, that's too many that just fell out. Okay, let's see one, just for one card that. Let's just see. Let's see. I didn't believe in myself or in you. I let my low self-worth ruin our love. I want us to heal together. See? And so that's exactly what I was saying. I was saying your person didn't have an identity, and when we don't have an identity, and then people that manipulate us, and then we don't like what our life looks like, well, that would obviously keep us not liking who we are. But your person doesn't know who they are. And so because they don't know who they are, because they've never healed that aspect of themselves, they never really let you get close because they knew that their life kind of was a sham. They knew it wasn't as good as they were proclaiming it to be, but they wanted you to still like them. And so they ruined this love, not because that you didn't like them or love them, because that unconditional love, that bond that you have with them transcends all time and space. They've never experienced that type of love before. Remember, this person does for everybody and is not getting appreciated. Most likely because if they were being appreciated all the time and praised all the time, they would want something. But how people have manipulated your person is they, don't make them feel good. They take what they can get from them. They somewhat appreciate, but then it's kind of like backhanded and judged and not really this unconditional love that should come freely from these people, where your person is acting like they're family, and if they are family, they're not acting like family. And that's really what it comes down to, that your person needed to like live their own life. They needed to find out what they wanted, and they never did that before they met you. So you obviously terrified them, and they did not give you the emotional support you needed, which awakened your wounds of abandonment, of betrayal, and again, shame, because it made you feel not good about yourself, but really your person wasn't meaning to do that. They were running from you. They kind of wanted you to run after them because they're a low vibe, again, because of their fear and what needs to be healed and integrated, but they just had a low self-esteem. So not because they're really a bad person. So I'm going to leave it there. Now, if you resonated with it, let me know by giving this video a like, thumbs up. That's all you got to do. It's free, it's easy. And subscribe to the channel and write the word shame in your comment bar. And now if you have any stories about shame yourself, or you can identify, you can let me know too. All right, I got to go to bed because it's late. And I will see you all soon. Bye, Aquarius.